Today we're going to be listening to Shriek and Ori from Ori and the Will of the Wisps. So this is a pretty intense battle, right? I mean, it's got to be. And I don't know who Shriek is. Is Shriek an enemy? Is Shriek Ori's friend? The reason why I understand that this is probably some sort of boss battle is the sharp rhythms. It sounds like tumultuous. It sounds like boulders are being thrown, rolling around on the ground. It's bouncy in its rhythm, and there's a lot of dissonance in the pitch as well. There is this antagonism at play, which is, very common for any sort of like thing that's dire when we talk about video game music and music in general. And also listen to the trombones. That motion too gives us this feeling of tenseness, of anxiety and tension, which is causing us to feel distress, especially sounds like a whirlwind. So it shifts into a different phase there because in the piano, repeated patterns like that usually, again, are forward momentum, are usually fueling us towards something. And then over top, it's like the layer of the cake, right? You've got the piano at the bottom, then you've got all the different instruments over top, and that's what's creating the melody and the structure, which is causing us, again, more distress. And now, of course, we've shifted into a different phase. Wise, we have a few things that are really cool in there from the perspective of a singer like myself. That's what's called a sforzando. Sforzando is you start at one tempo and then you swell into it's essentially a crescendo that then pulls back into the original volume. So if we start piano, it's like it goes out and then back, out and then back. Sforzare is to force. And so it's sort of like force outward and then back in. It's like rowing a boat. And so that's really effective, especially in this, where that's in the sopranos. There's that middle range in their vocal register. So there's and it does, again, it's all about tension, right? And at this point, I'm actually wondering too, it sounds like if Shriek is Shriek the owl that I see on the main picture here? If Shriek is an owl, perhaps the vocalism there in the sopranos represents the owl's noise. It's possible. This is all that layering and trying to create imagery within music, which is then giving us a picture of what's occurring. Again, context or no context, it doesn't really matter. What matters is like that the music is telling a story, and in video games we understand that music aids in telling a story. So all those layers are really interesting. First of all, isn't that really cool how tension when we sustain things, that's how you can tell that that was a cliffhanger musically. And then we get into this sort of what feels like the climax, which makes sense because we're also 3 minutes into the track of it's a 6-minute song. It makes sense that the 3-minute mark usually going to be the peak. And now we're phasing into this different area. And this area musically already can feel a bit more heroic and a bit more like galvanization. But isn't that the main theme? So that's actually gorgeous. That's Ori's like jumping off point and that confidence and that galvanization, like I said, and this sort of springboard into defeating whatever's happening. so cool. So there we've got that theme. We hear that multiple different times. Each time it's slightly different. The first time it's very sort of intimate. It's about like gathering the forces, right? Then the second time it's a bit more confident and a bit more like external. And then the third time, that's in direct conflict with whatever we're fighting, Shriek? I don't know. There's a mixing of melody where we have all the things we heard in the first couple minutes of that tension and the trumpet, giving that, right, all that stuff. Then we also have that melody come in, which is Ori's melody, and that's that clash. And we hear that so beautifully in this. It's a fantastic piece. Ori and the Will-o'-the-Wisps, Ori and the Blind Forest. These are games that are on my list to play. They have to be played. I will play them because, I mean, the music alone is worth the time. As always, if you like this sort of stuff, feel free to check out the channel. Feel free to like, subscribe. There's a ton of playlists, ton of music if you're into this sort of stuff. Support the channel if you want to with links in the About section. And as always, thanks a ton. And hey, I'll talk to you later. Bye.